Brittney, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out for the show today. I appreciate it.
I'm so happy to be here.
Me too. So let's begin our journey into your work by asking you this. I'm sure this is something that affected your world and your work. The pandemic 5 years ago reshaped so many things. How did you get through that era, and how has it affected the way that you do things today?
Ugh. Boy, it really, the whole world changed in March of 2020. We, we have a quail farm, and so we're responsible for live animals and people. And um, in going into a pandemic, I'd never been through one before, and everybody else hadn't been through it. So nobody knew exactly what to expect.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought that in the world of a pandemic, that people were going to not choose niceties because we're a nicety, not a necessity.
Yeah.
And so we kind of scheduled a pullback to figure that people were just going to spend money on something else or didn't have that much money. And so we pulled back all of our placements. We put our staff on kind of a furlough just to see how long it was going to be. A month? Was it going to be 2 months, a year, or what? And so we pulled back for 3 months, and then we were sold out for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Who would have thunk it? I
Yeah.
mean, I never would have thought that people in such a stressful moment of their lives that, and I guess it's a psychological thing that they just chose to splurge at home because they weren't going out to eat. They weren't spending money and all these other things. So they had more money. And then of course they had the mailbox money coming in, which helped too. But yeah, we were sold out. We were on allocation for a year and a half to get back into, being in stock. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I've heard so many stories like that where people and businesses just didn't expect things were going to turn out the way they did, and
Yeah.
they just got totally depleted in a good way.
Yeah.
So that is a good thing. Well, I'm interested in your business model, and I'm curious what you do on a regular basis. So to do that, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of kids at career day. The kid in the back of the room, he's 12 years old, is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer him?
Yeah. Every day is a different day in my world. So it's never the same. So you have to be able to thrive in a place of change. Um, for example, some days I'm on the farms working with our managers that are on the farms. I'm usually in planning and scheduling for sales and production. I handle sales as well. So I go to trade shows. So we're getting ready to start up our trade show world in January. So we'll have one a month for 6 months. Um, I do product development as well for new items. We have a couple retailers that want fully cooked quail. So we're working on that. I do production planning based off of sales. So I do forecasting. I do that every Friday based off of what orders are coming in and how many products we need of whatever. We sell eggs and meat, and we carry full inventory of our meat products because they're in the freezer, so it's a little more forgiving. On the egg side, it's sell it or smell it kind of moments, and
Yeah.
so it's a lot of planning. I spend a lot of time at my computer. I get 200 emails a day.
Wow. So what
Mm-hmm.
did you want to be when you were that age? When you were 12 years old, what was your dream job?
My first pick would have been a marine biologist
Okay.
because I love the ocean and the energy of the ocean and the um, surprise of the ocean and just sometimes the shock, like you see a shark that goes by and there's a little timidness of like, oh, I'm out of control because I'm not in my own little bubble of control. And so, but it intrigues me, but it's very calming and peaceful. But then I always knew that I would be in the quail business because it's a family business. So
Okay. So are you originally from South Carolina?
I am. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Take me back to your childhood. A lot of things are set in motion by the time we're 3 years old. What were the seeds that were planted that have allowed you to get to this place in your career and your focal point in your life?
You know, um, I've always been an independent child, an independent person, relying on myself to provide. I have had a few traumas in my life that have kind of forced me into that self-preservation and self, you know, production. And I give 110% every chance I can. I just show up, when you can, and when it gets tough, dig deeper and keep going, and don't quit. And so no matter whether it's, I was in sales in a mall in high school, and I always wanted to win the competition. How many items you could get in a sales ticket, and how the number of dollars sold in a day. And I do love a good competition. And so I think I'm just born innately with this, but I think also there's, some life things that have intervened and helped shape me as well. So, but I'm not a quitter.
Yeah. So I want to dig into the world of quails. It's probably something that people don't know a lot about. And I'm a bird guy. I love birds and I love strange facts. And I remember years ago there was a morning show, and one of the guys said that one of the very few sounds on the planet that does not echo is a duck quack. And it just blew my mind because I'm like, he's right. When I
Yeah.
used to fish in the morning with my dad as a kid, I was used to remember that sound going over the lake, and it would just stop. It would just get muted by the time it got to you. So, my question to you is this: what is so fascinating, not only for you, but in your family lineage, the quail has become the focal point?
It's, for us being in the bird business, it's been an amazing ride. I'm 55 now, so the farm's 55 years old. We've learned over the years, trial and tribulations of how to do things right. And people ask us all the time about getting into the quail business, and I'm happy to help everybody which way they can. You're in the risk business, is what you're in. You risk change. We provide love and care for our flock and our creatures and our people, but sometimes the world is out of your control with the weather, especially. We live in South Carolina, so we have hurricanes, tornadoes, ice storms, snowstorms, high winds just on a nice sunny day, hot days. And we do everything that's to protect our flock every which way you can, but humility will kick you in the teeth some days. And so, quail make these wonderful, beautiful chirps as well. And for me, it's just try and think and give as much as you can, and have 8 different backup plans about what you're going to do if this fails, or what you're going to do if that fails, and just try and map it out as much as possible, and then pray, that you've done everything that you think that you can. And it's like that. I don't think it's Affleck. There's a commercial that has the moose that's in the swing set, and they're like,
Yeah.
we got it, we did that already. Well,
Yeah.
that's sometimes us,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think that's a lot of businesses just in general. And so we've had a few, life moments that have taught us, but the one thing is you can always learn from something and make it better for the next time. And so it just, when you think you have it, the dose of humility will come in and get you and remind you that there's always something to learn. And so whether it's a quail business or a laundromat or whatever, there's just so much about business that you can learn every day, even when you think you've learned it all, for sure.
What have you learned about being around animals? I mean, working with animals is a different kind of mindset. It affects you in a different way. What have you learned about yourself and dealing with people by being around animals this much?
Hair, hair, hair. Um, we have a saying that if it looks dirty, it eats dirty. So we're neurotic about cleanliness. We treat our flock as their own babies. So, like, humans get probiotics, so we give our birds probiotics. So we think what's good for them is good for us, and what's good for us is good for them. And just having people be as passionate as possible around our flock, because they are little birds and they do need special care. There's so many companies that go in and out of the quail business, like backyard startup farms. And they call me and they're like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, well, did you think about everything that you could to protect them and to make them so healthy? And it's the same thing with humans and being the husbandry of raising an animal. If you care and love for them and give them the best environment, then they will be happy and thrive. And they're very creative little fun creatures. They'll come up to you and peck on your shoes, and quite tender. And so and we call ourselves flock members. And so we're all part of the flock. Even some humans and some, with feathers.
Yeah. So, who's been kind of your inspirational force in your life to be an entrepreneur, to run a business that, of course, takes so many different strings you have to pull? What's been that inspiration for you to do it at a high level for all these years?
I early on, so my mom and dad are certainly the first and forefront of it because I've watched them. My dad's the entrepreneur, risk taker. My mom's the calculated analyzer, the planner. So I kind of have dual personalities from them. I'm a Gemini as well, so it's kind of fitting.
Yeah.
And so, and as a kid, I was really interested in Freud, and I took psychology in college, and I took marketing and business skills, and just trying to help develop myself. And then I took a job right out of college for a pharmaceutical company in New Jersey, and they put me through 3 months of rigorous training, and I recommend it for everybody. At first, I thought I just wanted to go into sales right out of the gate, and I didn't. They taught me the 4 modules of, I mean, there's a lot of different modules about the personality types and who likes to be amicable and who likes to be a driver and who only wants numbers and who wants to just talk about their feelings. And those are really, really strong points to succeed in life. And then I also have my day timer. That was when um, organization and time management really became really structured and in the forefront of everybody talking about it. And I'm looking at it right now. I still have my day timer from when I first got out of college. And so I have a list every day that I make. And if I check off three, it really helps me out. But I just have to organize my thoughts because I have so many interruptions every day that you just have to be committed to staying honed in on what the short-term goal is and the long-term goal is, and then just check in and just check back in and check back in. And so I think the business modules back in the 90s really helped structure my success rate. And I just wake up every morning with drive. So it's
So, if you could meet anybody on the planet that's an entrepreneur that might be in the same vein of what you're doing, hang out with them, spend some time with them that might help you on your journey, would there be anybody on the planet you would love to meet and hang out with?
I have a friend of mine, Will Harris. He's with White Oak Pastures and he's in South Georgia. And he's the guy that I love talking to because we totally get nerded out on farming and practices. And he's taken a commercial beef operation and gone back to regenerative farming, and he's doing it back to the 1800s way. And it's it's talking to other people that understand farming, that have a sense of business mind to it. It's very much money management and um, very much a business, even though it's in the world of animals. Warren Buffett is, of course, one that I just, he's a pinnacle. He's so wise and so smart. And to sit around a table and just visit with him for a minute would be a real blessing for sure.
I would imagine farmers would have a pretty good beat on where the economy is and where it's going. We've heard about so many things that are fluctuating, so many things that are uncertain right now. From your estimation, how are things going in America in 2025 as far as like what's coming and what you've been going through?
Yeah, I mean, nobody's really saying it, but we're still post pandemic. We've
Right.
been, I mean, every producer that I talk to is year over year over year, it slid just a little bit or flat. And we're just fourth quarter right now. We're all starting to see an uptick. So I think the consumer confidence is getting there. I think everybody got really sketched out about tariffs and what it was going to do, and we all kind of check in with each other every few months, like, what are you seeing? And I always call my a friend of mine in Texas, and he's in the rice and pasta business because that will tell you what the economy is doing. If it's down, rice is going to go way up because people will trade down on their buying power. On pasta, it's going to go way up as well, and it's also kind of a stabilized commodity, if you will. And so, and things look bright. I think 2026 is going to be good.
Good. That's good
Yeah,
news.
yeah. I mean, everybody that there's consumer excitement. I think that the tariff things have settled down. The interest rates are coming down, so that helps people, with loans and whatnot. And I think that I think 2026 is going to be a very promising year.
So if one of those kids in that classroom on career day wanted to have really good, sound entrepreneurial advice from you, what would you tell them? What fuel would you give them to go for it?
Just try. There's I've started a Just Try Foundation. It's a nonprofit that is for that very reason, because there's so many places, especially in the ag business. I wanted to build like a little mini farm where kids come to see that where carrots grow out of the ground, or, you know, an herb grows on a plant, or it doesn't just come in a package in a grocery store. And I wanted to do like a little incubator kitchen where people could bring their family recipes and start a business, but they don't know how to break through all the bureaucracy of government forms and tax and all this. And so I was going to donate my time and my QA people to help them develop their own programs. And so many people, I think they just don't start their businesses because they don't know how to, and they get stuck. And whether it's the EPA or OSHA or FDA or USDA or a state agency, there's just so much that you have to become an expert before you can even really start a business. And but you just gotta keep going. You just gotta try. And then if you don't find the answers, go out and do a little bit more research, because the internet is an insane tool these days. And find somebody that's a consultant that can help you start a business, because there's formats out there. I mean, there's if you have an idea that fills a want and a need, you'll do well. You just got to have the guts. And then there's always backers, financial backers out there that'll help you. And then like seed starter companies, they have these online funding accounts now that do these seed starting. And we never had that, but if we start another business, it might be a route that we might go down to. And it's a great place to be able to live out a dream for somebody and to help others fill their dreams. So um, research and then just do it.
The one thing about being an entrepreneur is there's this level of risk. In your
Yeah.
career, what's the biggest risk that you've taken?
Um, we we partner with Costco, and they called us and asked us for our quail eggs, and we were sold out at the time. And I said, I'm happy to build a farm for you. It's going to cost millions of dollars, but I'm willing to do it. And they said, okay, without a contract, because they don't do contracts. Um, Bought a piece of property and started renovating. And then 2 months later, the pandemic started. So we have a multi-million-dollar farm that we're building for Costco. Then the pandemic started, and then avian influenza got within a 6 mile radius of our farm, but had enough vision not to place birds there on that farm. And then that same week, our server got hijacked and held for ransom.
Oh no.
So that was like, so three: a pandemic, AI, and hijacking on my server. And they said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "We're not paying it. We do backups every day, so we lost a day, big deal."
Yeah.
And so we got everything back online, didn't pay the fine, and didn't get hit with AI, and made it through the pandemic. And Costco held true to what they were going to do. And at that moment in life, you think, what do I do? Do I just like pull back and lean back on it? Or do you put the pedal to the metal and go?
Yeah.
I put the hammer down, kept
Yeah.
on going.
And just win. That's it.
Yeah, yeah,
So let's say you have a dream tonight and you run into the 18-year-old version of you and you have a book in your hands and it's your life so far and you hand it over and say, this is what's happened so far. Would that young version of you believe it?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I've been true to myself pretty genuinely my entire life. And I think I've learned things about myself and some of these traumas back in my life that I didn't understand it as an 18-year-old. But now that it's revealed itself and I understand it, it helps me process it a little bit better. And just hang in there. Everybody
Yeah.
has a bad day. And you're meant to be on the planet for a reason. And Just give it a few more hours or a few more days or another month, and things will settle down and get better. I promise. And don't give up.
Yeah, for sure. So, of everything that you've done and accomplished and become and overcome in your life, what are you the proudest of?
I really am so happy to share that I've helped other people help themselves in their lives and their development of their own skills within our company and our farm. I'm really proud of our children. We have two children that are also leading personalities and very independent and very, comfortable with themselves and their own skin. And I'm proud of the company that it's become. I mean, a little quail farm that started in the backyard you know, is the leader in the marketplace these days, and retailers want more from us. Um, and I'm proud of the way that I still care for everybody and have not gotten hardened, because that can happen.
Yeah. So, what is it about quail? What, like, as far as from a nutrient standpoint, the way it tastes, the way it is, what stands out about the quail?
So I think I mean, they're literally the holy quail. They're mentioned in the Bible. Our birds are pharaoh quail that came from Egypt. Um, they are super rich in nutrients and vitamins and minerals, the meat side of it, low in fat, and just really healthy for you. And it's a nice sweet meat that everybody loves. It's not like duck where it's red, and it's not like chicken where it's white. The eggs, on the other hand of it, are just exploded. Um, they're also rich in nutrients, minerals, and vitamins. In fact, we've trademarked them the superfood egg, and so it finds holes. Everybody is different in what they're deficient in, whether it's vitamins or a mineral or iron, and it finds these little holes in everybody's bodies and fills the holes and fills the voids and heals themselves from inside out. And I have so many people every day come up to me, tell me differently what helped them and helped them. We got into the egg business because a guy was buying 180 eggs a month from us. And finally, we were like, "What are you doing with these?" And he was like, "I feed them to my dogs." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "My dogs have allergies. And if you feed the quail eggs every day, one a day, they stop biting at their paws and stop scratching at their fur." And so we went to the internet and we were like, there's got to be more to this. So we
Yeah.
Googled health benefits of quail eggs. And then we were like, holy moly. I mean, we've been in the egg business the meat business for, at that time, 40 years, 45 years. And now we're in the egg business. We'll sell over 50 million eggs this year.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're barely touched the surface. And people call us all the time. They're like, I love to bake with them. I love to eat them. I feed them to my dogs. I feed them to my reptiles, the kids, because it has DHA in it. Um, and of course, I'm not a medical advisor, so everybody has to do their own research. But
Sure. Sure.
it's really really taken off, and we've just scratched the surface.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
great.
send you a little care package of my favorite stuff.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that. Eggs are my favorite things. I love hard boiled eggs, so I'm salivating now.
yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone you work with, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think that I'm humble. I'm driven, but humble. Somebody came up to me the other day at a party, and they were like, "Oh, I read the article about you. You're such a badass." And I'm like, "I'm just Brittany. I'm just doing my best, and I'm just staying committed to what I have in my driving machine of my body. And if it helps other people stir their confidence and say, you know what, I can do it too. Um, I'm glad to be a part of it, but I don't I don't walk around thinking anything, fantastic about myself. I just think I'm a quail farmer, and I'm a mom, and I'm a wife, and I'm a daughter, and I'm doing every day the best that I can, and just keep it real and
Yeah.
genuine.
So if anybody wants to get involved with the eggs, with the meat, Manchester Farms, any of the good business, where's the best place to go?
You can go to your retailer and see if they have it on the shelf locally. The meat are in the frozen meat section. The eggs, of course, will be in the egg section, depending on which retailer you shop at. And then we also have an online program, manchesterfarms.com, And then you might see it on a restaurant. If you see it on a menu somewhere, it's 99% our products. So,
Okay.
but always ask the server, is it Manchester Farms?
Okay.
So,
Excellent. Well, I will put
yeah.
all these links in the show notes. What a fascinating ride into the world of quail and what you're doing. Thank you so much, Brittney. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
holiday
Yeah.
season.
You as well. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.